This is Mouth Media Network, the business of being heard.
If monkeys had microphones, their show would be significantly better. Unfortunately, this is funny people talking.
I'm Darlene Liebman, the founder of Creative Humans, and I'd rather give Harvey Weinstein a shot into his penis than listen to funny people talking.
That's so awesome. You know, the funny thing is hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. I have to tell you, after Darlene said her opening line there, we just lost it. That is the greatest. Darlene, welcome to the show. Anyway, we'll get to you in just a second, but I would like to say I'm Mark Rako, one of your hosts, and with me, she's not with me. She's with all of us. It's Dresden Engel. Hi, Dresden.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello. And also with us, of course, our good friend and our producer, Elsie. Howdy, Elsie.
Hi.
I was giving you like a cowboy hello. Howdy. So, do you like cowboys?
I never met one that I didn't like. They're fine.
How many have you met?
I never counted.
Okay.
Hashtag spare a horse, ride a cowboy.
Enough. Okay, enough to know that you like them all so far. Got it. Okay.
Cool.
Also with us, the most important person in the room today is Darlene Liebman, the creator of incredible organization, Creative Humans. And I should point out one of our recent guests, Nate Russell from Hammond Hill Media. I hope you enjoyed his episode. If you didn't listen to it, how dare you? Go back and listen to it. It's a great one. I met Nathan through Darlene because I met Darlene trying to get a hold of Nathan. And then I was like, oh my God, Darlene, why don't you come on the show? Then Darlene was booked on the show. And how come you couldn't come on the show last time?
Oh, I was stricken with COVID. Go figure.
Okay.
I hear it's spreading. It's going around. So.
Oh gosh. So
how do you spell that?
So first of all, before I go on, how are you doing now, Darlene?
Yeah.
I am happy to report that I'm fully recovered. But it was
hallelujah.
Yeah, good. Yay. I'm so happy to hear that. But guess who filled her spot at the last moment? None other than Nathan. So that's how we got Nathan on that particular episode. Just kind of worked out in a perfect way. But fortunately, recovered, and us having an available slot. Darlene's now with us. Hallelujah. It's going to be a great time. And I'm really excited to learn more about you, Darlene, and your incredible company. So we have a great show coming up. Of course, we're going to talk to Darlene. But before we do that, I want to tell a story about buying a Christmas tree. Of course, our salute to Tina Fey as always. And Dresden, I want to challenge you with something. And I know I'm sort of throwing this on you. If you would rather do a Dresden moment and have one queued up, I'm totally fine with that. But I thought it would be cool to sort of mix it up and ask you if you would offer a Dresden PR tip. And if you want to illustrate it based on a Dresden moment, that's fine. But let's focus it more on being and this is not a setup, everybody. I'm honestly asking her for the first time right now to switch it up. Are you cool with that?
I am cool with that.
Okay, cool. And then Elsie has a brand new feature called Headline Poetry. I'll tell you what that's going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And then a brand new improv game. I think you're going to enjoy it, and that's all coming up. And of course, like I said, we'll talk to Darlene. But first, real quick, a quick question for Dresden, as per usual. I have to know, Dresden. I have to know.
Okay.
I do not understand. There seems to be a very, very bright light on you, but it's dark all around you. It's like a spotlight right on you, very narrow, a special, as they call it in the theater.
Yeah.
Right on you, and the rest of you is dark. I don't usually see you like this with just a very single, narrow spotlight right on your face.
Yeah.
Please to be explaining.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So I've turned a certain age, and when you get to be a certain age, old-fashioned movie star, can't quote her name exactly who it was, but they said you can either take care of your body or your face. And I decided I like carbs, so I'm going for face. So I've decided to carry one of those rings that people use for podcasts in their home. Those light rings
the ring
around.
light, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see my necklace? See how it's like strapped to me like a necklace? So you only look at my face and you are completely ignoring the rest of me. So for all intents and purposes, I'm a size 5.
It's
I
body
recommend
blindness.
it. I don't know. I think it's a good in women empowerment thing. I think I'm going to market it.
I love it. What will it be called?
Light my face. I'm going to think about it. Something.
Okay.
I heard there's some other businesses over the last 20 years that have done well using the word face. So maybe face look, like that doesn't conflict with anything. So face look. That's what I'm calling it. Face look. I'm going to go with a blue and a white logo. Yeah. Perfect.
That seems like, safe trademark territory to me.
So, yeah. Face look. So you only look at my face. Great. Beautiful. Mark, thank you for helping me work through the branding. That was brilliant.
Are we not friends? Come on. What am I?
Man, you have my back all day long.
I do. I would if I could see it. So
and can you help me with a logo? Help me with a logo. Maybe just an F, like in a blue box or something. But we'll talk offline.
Just a disembodied head.
Just
Dres, since you're on a roll, why don't you tell me to start the show? Would you?
Mark, start the damn show.
All right.
From the Mouth Media Network studios in New York City, this is Funny People Talking with Mark Rako, Dresden Engel, and Elsie.
All right, everybody, we are here with, of course, Dresden, Elsie, and me, and Darlene Liebman from Creative Humans. Well, she's not just from Creative Humans; she's from Manhattan and from from Earth and America and lots of other things, but also her company, Creative Humans. We've got a great show ahead, but first, before we do anything, we absolutely must pray to the comedy gods in the hopes that someday, somehow, our goddess of comedy, Tina Fey, will grace us with her presence. Darlene, you see every episode, we devote a small portion of the show appealing to the comedy gods that Tina Fey will somehow grace us with her presence. Send us a
pizza, anything.
That's all we care about.
Yeah.
That just to know it came from her would be enough.
Right.
Call in, send us a video, do anything that she can. We'll pray to the comedy gods, putting out into the universe. You never know what will happen. You're welcome to join in, or you can just watch disgustedly at us as we go through this exercise. But Elsie, would you lead it off? Oh, Dresden started. Go ahead.
No,
Tina
I'm just
Fey.
doing the background music.
Elsie, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Tina, we really would like to have you
Tina Fey, we
contact us
love
on
you.
the
Please,
show.
Tina Fey, I appeal to you.
We want to have a girl
Please
named
post it.
Please,
Just say hi.
these three kings we are.
You
we wish
can
you were
bring
here.
Amy
We
Poehler
love
if
any
you
type of pizza is
want.
fine. We're not picky.
So,
Love you. Tina Fey, come on the
we're
show.
persistent. That's one thing you can say about us.
Amen.
Boom.
Thank you. I saw you
Darlene,
praying, Darlene. Thank you for that.
I don't
Thanks
know
for
if she
sending the
was
energy.
laughing at us and hiding her face in shame, or
It could also
I'm not sure.
be that. She was praying.
You were praying like your prayer was so perfect. It was almost like an emoji prayer hand. Like that was amazing.
We're sitting here goofing about pizza and stuff, and Darlene's like legitimately praying. Like, thank you, Darlene.
Thank you, Darlene.
Speaking of praying, then I think of Christmas, which makes me think of Christmas trees. And all I wanted to say was had a really fun moment the other day where, so I've been in New York for I think 13 and a half years, and I've been with my wife 10 and a half years. We're not married the whole time, but with her. And in our entire 10 and a half years, we've only gotten 3 Christmas trees, and the third one was this year. We used to have a really big cat, and we were afraid the cat would like take down the tree or, hurt the ornaments or whatever. We could put like ornaments on the top third of the tree and be safe. So we just never got a tree. And then like 3 years ago, my wife bought a beautiful little like a tiny tree and surprised me with it and decorated. I came home, it was all lit up and decorated because I was whining that we didn't have Christmas spirit or whatever, and she did that. It was so sweet. And then last year I went and got a tree at like 11:30 at night and like dickered with the tree salesman to like sell me that little tree for $40 freaking or whatever, and I got him to do it, and I was so proud of myself. And I thought I paid $40 for this little piece of crap tree, but it's my tree, damn it, and we're gonna decorate the crap out of it, and we enjoyed it. This year we found out that a place that we could get a tree, we get a 7-foot tree for $60, and so Whole Foods, actually it was. So we traipsed down to 125th Street in Manhattan, and we bought a tree. And then we had that When Harry Met Sally moment where you're just walking through the streets of New York, carrying the tree, trying to navigate through all the people not paying attention on the sidewalks, trying not to kill somebody. Then we brought it down in the subway and put it in the subway car, and took the subway home with our tree, and then carried it home and set it up. And I have to tell you something. I swear to God, it is the most perfect looking. I sent you a picture, Elsie, didn't I? It is the most perfect.
Yeah, it's very
symmetrical. Oh, Mark, send me one too. I want to see
I've ever seen. I will.
But Mike, I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question. Did you trim it to look that shape?
No, I swear to God.
Like, that's honest to God.
All I did was cut the bottom off of it, and it was totally exactly the way the tree.
And it's no fake branches stuck in to make it look full.
Nothing.
So,
there's
Mark,
nothing about this tree that is fake. I have to tell you, there it is. Look at that perfect.
That is pretty fabulous. Tree. That is a perfect tree. With all the schlepping, and because you brought up the fabulous visual of the Harry Met Sally moment. Did you and the wife fight?
Harry met Potter.
Good one. Did you and your wife fight at all? Or did the moment stay Hallmark Christmas movie like?
No, I think it was pretty nice. I did, however, as I was carrying the back of the tree, and my wife is actually very small, but she's a brute. She'll be the first one to tell you that, by the way. She's very curious. I call her an Altoid because she's curiously strong. And so she takes, I do, it's true. And so she was carrying the front of the tree and I was carrying the trunk of the tree. And I took out my phone and I videotaped her carrying it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I sent it to my brother, like, and he's like, it's like, you should be helping. And but no, we were fine. And we started decorating it last night. And I went through that ritual that I'm sure we all, whoever, I don't know how many of us in this call have ever had a Christmas tree, because I don't know everyone's religious background, but of course there's the one part of the strand that doesn't light up, and you literally go through every light trying to replace it and figure out why it's not lighting. At the end of what I think was a solid hour and 20 minutes of testing lights, I still couldn't get the damn thing to light properly. So there's just a section of lights in our Christmas tree that will just lay dead forever. I'm not taking it off. And we're going to buy other Christmas lights to cover it up with, because I don't blame you. It was terrible. Anyway, have you ever done the walk? Darlene, being in New York, have you ever done the... Oh, wait a minute. Of course, I have. Are you perhaps Jewish with a name like Liebman, or am I being assumptuous?
I am MOT, yes, member of the tribe. But, I do associate with the Goyim, so I know a lot of them. Tell me your story.
I associate with the Goyim.
Yeah,
everyone in the subway must have been so tickled. That seemed like such a charming New York thing.
Yeah.
And it would end up somewhere.
I know it was. I don't know. Everyone. I didn't see any charmed faces. Of course, everyone had masks on, but I didn't see any charmed faces. No, I'm serious. I couldn't tell through their glint of their eye. But no, pardon me?
How much money did you save? You could have just gone to the corners, and there's tree guys everywhere in New York City.
Oh, a lot. Saved a lot. Like near us, for the little tree I got last year for $40 would have been like $80.
I'm just curious. I want a price comparison. Next time you go by those guys, just be like, how much is that 7-foot tall tree?
I did. It's like $120.
Oh, all right. Good deal.
It's so, I feel very confident with our
deal,
but we had to get on
you to get that deal.
I feel very
Darlene,
good about it.
were you in a sorority in college?
I was not, but I had a lot of friends in sororities.
I was in a Jewish sorority, so I thought I'd bond with the MOT.
Oh.
But moving on.
Did you call it member of the tribe being in a sorority?
No. MOT means tribe
Jewish.
means Jewish. Yeah.
We asked each other.
I know that. I was aware of that.
Just checking.
I actually went to quite a few bar mitzvahs growing up because I grew up in Brighton, which is a very,
yes, you did, which
very,
is half
very
Jewish.
way more Jewish in the old days. Not 50%. As much nowadays, but when in Rochester, where I'm from and where Dresden lives. Anyway, I don't know.
No, it's a great visual. I enjoyed it.
I just had to share that visual because I felt like
I had to make sure there's no bickering so I could stay in my moment of you two like, aw, look what we're doing.
Thank you. I know.
Because I would have probably been yelling at my husband. So that's just, I'm the evil bitch.
Well, if there was... What would you be saying to Paul if you were carrying a Christmas tree through the streets?
Why the hell are you making me carry the heavy part? I'm not curiously strong.
That's I think if there was at Universal Studios a When Harry Met Sally village... One of the things that you could do is carry a Christmas
the orgasm scene over and over again. That's all.
Over and over. There'd be a little Katz's Deli with someone constantly doing the orgasm scene.
Constantly.
And you could order like $5,000 corned beef sandwiches, and I meant that about like Universal Studios, not Katz's. And then there would be a little Empire State Building.
I'm gonna put a pin in it. I don't think there's gonna ever be a Harry Met Sally village.
This is now gonna be my mission in life. I don't care how many millions I earn. Some little like, some little Amish town. I'm gonna find some cheap real estate and just like build a little When Harry Met Sally. I mean, I granted that probably most of the Amish haven't seen the movies since they may not have electricity or whatever, but no. Anyway. And
you're on a tangent. I don't know.
No, I'm just trying to give fair time to all religions, I guess. But anyway, all right, we're going to move on. I'm sure you'll all thank me for it. I would love if Dresden, you might switch us up a little bit and offer up a PR tip for all of us novices.
And now it's time for Pop Goes the Dresden.
By the way, when I say all of us, I meant me.
Yeah.
And by PR, you don't mean Puerto Rico.
No, we mean public relations, which
yes, could you give us a Puerto Rican tip, please?
Well, take my hoops. You don't know that. You don't know that. My Puerto Rican friends love to say that. They get mad, so they don't fight. They're like, you don't know, they pull them off and they go, take my hoops.
The earrings, right? Okay.
You hold my hoops. Okay, anyway. It's my Puerto Rican friends say it all the time, but I can't get away with that. So, PR tip, so this is so funny. I was getting a massage today, and I was having this conversation with my friend Jay, who better be listening because he does subscribe. Yay. And I was telling him that, it's interesting when I teach college PR courses, I will say, you got to realize that people come to you with what they know, right? So we all come to everything with the experience that we have. And I said, it's really interesting that you just said a word that meant something completely different to me. He said the word leisure. And I said, what do you think when you hear the word leisure? And he said, suits from the 70s. I said, really? That's so interesting. I think leisure, I picture people on a patio with those bad 70s type webbed lounge chairs.
Literally, that's what I think of too, by the way.
Right. So I'm going to keep going here to make a point, right? So Mark, what do you think of? You think the lounge chairs as well?
Yes, I do.
Darlene, if I say the word leisure or leisure, depending tomato, what just comes to mind if I say at your, you're being leisurely?
I think of the character from The Simpsons. What was his? I forget. There was he was always in a leisure suit. He was like this cool, smooth guy with a big afro.
Oh, Disco Stew.
Okay.
Stew.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And why? Why, may I ask?
Because he was wearing a leisure suit. And then I also think
so you went for that too. Okay. And Elsie?
I kind of think of lawn chairs holding the tiki glasses and umbrellas.
Okay, cool. And cabana boys. So if I was going to sell something using the word leisure or leisure, I have to realize that that's going to conjure an image for everybody very differently. And so I have to beat up every word in PR, especially when it's crisis PR. I have to beat up every word if I'm making a statement for a company because there was a death, sadly, amongst the employees on a work set, for example. And, you don't want to say tragic loss because tragic then implies that we caused it. right? It's just interesting to beat up every word. Now, I'm not saying lying. I'm just saying the crafting of words. And so words are so much a public relation. So there's this gentleman who posts something. His name is Dale Hartnett, fellow former professor friend of mine. He posts something every day on social, and he'll say, if I said this word, what comes to mind? So we're just going to play one more game. Mark, what comes to mind if I say the word clock?
Clock?
Yeah. What is the next word? Would you put another word?
Tower.
Okay. Darlene?
I guess alarm clock.
Okay. Else?
Immediately, I think of grandfather.
Okay.
Grandfather clock. But
right,
that's
cool.
but that doesn't come after the word clock. It comes before.
Right. It can be either one. What makes you think when you, whatever. So somebody wrote Clockwork Orange on this Facebook post today, right? So they went down a whole different path. And another person wrote punch the ...
Uh-huh.
So those were all kind of similar, right? The word clock, except for the person who went a little crazy with Clockwork Orange. My point is, you have to realize your audience is the person on the other end of your message is always going to perceive the words differently. And we just, proved that with our little game, right? So you can't always be like, why the heck didn't they understand? Why didn't they get that? Why didn't that take off? And that's what's really cool about digital advertising, for example. You can try 3 different ads, see which one resonated, and then kill the 2 that didn't work. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow, that's a great tip. Thank
really
you, Dresden. That's
Thanks,
really
guys.
illuminating.
Thanks for playing along.
That was good.
That's a community tip.
Yes.
Nice job, Dresden. Okay.
But that plays in anything like email or texting.
Right? You don't have to be a PR person.
Because you know how when you write something, there's no inflection or emotion.
Yeah.
So people are going to read it how they read it.
Right? So you really have to think about your words. We used easy words like leisure and clock, but if we wanted to go with some tough words that really could hurt the jugular or other organs, right, Darlene? Wink, that we could, Anyway, my friends.
Very nice.
Thank you for indulging, and think about me tomorrow when you're writing a text and thinking too long about it. Say that, damn Dresden.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's my partner time. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that.
I say that on the first day of college PR course, I do tell my students, you will never look at the world the same again, and you will hate me forever. You'll never look at the way a politician talks at a microphone. You'll never look at a billboard the same way again. You're now going to rip everything apart for the rest of your lives. Okay, Mark, let's do some funny stuff, huh?
Yeah, well, that was funny. So, speaking of words, what a great segue opportunity here. Speaking of words, next up, we're going to do something a little different. Elsie, you may not realize this, but maybe you've experienced it in some of our improv games, but Elsie is actually quite the wordsmith. She's actually a fairly accomplished poet. And what I love is that you never really, you finished some of them, so I guess you accomplished something. So anyway, you are, sorry, Elsie. She's a poet anyway, and she's written poems and she gets inspiration from everywhere. So what I thought would be a great thing to do is let's check out what some random headlines are in the news, and I'm going to give them to Elsie and see if, inspired by the headline, Elsie, you can make a poem up on the spot and see how good you really are at this poetry thing. Are you willing to give that a shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was baking, she's cantankerous, and her cat's in a just bent. She's the producer, it's Elsie.
So let me just see what we come up with. These are real headlines. I'm literally pulling off the news right now. And the headlines are: woman falls into volcano vent on Oregon's Mount Hood. A very sad story. So, but a woman falls into volcano vent on Oregon's Mount Hood. So, Elsie, I'm hoping that might inspire you with some poetry.
A woman went down a volcano vent. We all want to know where she went. The volcano's name was Mount Hood. I'm pretty sure what happened to her was not good.
Very good. Thank you. All right, another headline. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's tequila brand has broken sales records, quote, the tequila of the people, unquote. The Rock Johnson's tequila company's sales have broken records, the tequila of the people. Elsie, take it away.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson has the tequila of the people. The sales are as tall as the highest church's steeple. If you want to have a good time, I know on the rocks, Dwayne Johnson's beverage, watch his commercial on TikTok. I don't know.
I thought you were going to rhyme time with lime.
Yeah,
since it was tequila,
I lost that one. Beginning
okay.
Good.
It's all right.
And
you're 1 for 2. That's good. That was still good. Last headline. Literally, I'm reading these and she's making them up on the spot.
Yeah, that, by the way, Dwayne Johnson, tequila, you rhyme those.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Okay, last one. 92-year-old man finds college jacket with social media help. A 92-year-old man found his college jacket with the help of social media.
There was a 92-year-old man. I believe his name was Stan. Whenever he went out and ran, he noticed he had no jacket. That jacket he did miss. It was gone. It was his bliss. He went onto social media, and he did it with quite expedience, because he really missed that jacket, and that was no racket. The people, they did help him, and now that man has a giant grin.
All right. That was a little bit more like a poetry slam than a poem, I think, but I loved it. Elsie, well done. Way to take up the challenge. Good job. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be our improv game, a brand new improv game. You never know how that's going to go on this show, but it could be fun. And then, of course, we're going to talk to Darlene, all about Darlene right after this.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Funny People Talking and Elsie at Elsie the Producer. And please, for the love of all that is holy, subscribe to the show and leave us a damn review and a really, really good rating on iTunes. Pretty please? Thank you.
All right, so the game that I've come up with, that we made up, it is called With All Due Respect. And the idea is, we play the game What If, where you kind of keep one-upping the other person with your ideas of whatever it is that they're pitching, and it gets bigger and bigger. And it's kind of along those lines where you ever been one-upped by someone when they're like, oh my God, this is like the most ingredients I've ever had on a pizza. You're like, oh my God, you should have seen the pizza I had when I was on this Caribbean island. I bet there were 30 ingredients on that thing. And it's like, they couldn't let you have this moment. They had to tell you about the 30 ingredient pizza. So this is basically about one-upping each other with wherever the conversation started. And the idea is to use a phrase that you typically use with that kind of thing, which is, look, not to one-up you, or, with all due respect, or in my opinion, or whatever qualifier there might be, to excuse really just minimizing what that person did and telling your better version of that story.
It's the one improv game where you can kind of not be completely accepting of what the other person says, because it's part of the game to not be.
Exactly. Or even based in reality, really. So it all starts with a suggestion from somebody else. Dres, why don't you and I play this like we often demonstrate, and then Darlene and Elsie can do the next round if you're so up for it, Darlene. So Darlene, what I'd love to do is ask you for a location, any location, anywhere. It can be specific or non-specific. For example, it could be, the corner of 63rd and Madison, the southwest corner right next to the girl with the red balloon. Or it could be Oregon. So, specific, non-specific. Anyway, any location, Darlene. By the way, Darlene's had this ready for like 5 minutes now and just waiting for me to go through my little example. So, Darlene, what is the location to inspire our game?
I say Burning Man.
Burning Man. Whoa! Great. Thank you very much. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh my God, Dresden. I have not seen you in forever, my friend.
Man, it is so good to see you.
I don't know if I told you this, but guess what I did this year?
What?
I went to Burning Man with my friend Tim.
Whoa. Is Tim still there? Did he make it back safe with you?
He actually got a spider bite. And it was about the size of a dime. And it made him very sick. And he was sick for like 12 hours. And he had to fly home. But then he went back after he got better. And, he figured he paid for 4 days. He wanted to be there for 4 days. So anyway, it was amazing. It was amazing. I'd never been before. It was the greatest thing. Have you ever been to Burning Man?
Well, like 3 times, but I try not to tell people because I use different names every time, Yeah, because, but when I went, you want to know what I did?
Yes.
I had this idea that I'm going to do next time because I always have like a craft booth. And what I do is I have all the people come in and I have them paint each other and then I like sell them for the week. Wow. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm really happy to know you're doing crafts because, with all due respect, I don't know if you realize this, but I have a craft empire that I'm the CEO of. Yes. And I do. And I do that at events all over the world. And so, I wish I had seen your craft table. I would have been glad to give you some pointers or whatever.
Oh, why? What would you imply would be better?
Well, I didn't see it, so I don't know what was good or bad of it. But I'm sure you did a great job. So what were you selling?
So I was selling people to actually, like, if there was a blue guy you wanted to, hang out with all week, you could buy the guy painted blue, right? Or people would wear different costumes, right? So maybe, this person wears a flame resistant outfit underneath, but then on the outside, they're on fire the whole time. So they're just walking around burning at Burning Man, but nobody got hurt in the making of this craft.
That is cool, amazing. Huh? Yeah, it is cool.
Wicked cool.
It's such a coincidence that you had like you would sell a blue guy because we actually had Blue Man Group playing at every one of our craft tables. And funny enough, I don't know if it's funny, but one year, the full Blue Man Group caught on fire and we're running around. So we actually had blue burning men.
Well, how about next time, since you've already done that once, how about next time you have the men be marshmallow covered blue, because then they can be like edible and we could sell that as a snack at Burning Man. What do you think, man?
I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
You win. You win.
Thank you, Marshmallow Blue Men Group.
So that is with all due respect. That's how you play the game. I don't know how funny or brilliant that was, but that's the idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed outdoing you or being outdone.
Well, you had an empire. You had to go. You had a whole empire.
I had an empire. I wish I had the Burning Blue Man Group. So anyway, so Darlene and Elsie, Dresden, why don't you have a location for Darlene and Elsie that might inspire their conversation?
The actual toy building room, quite a large, like loft type space in the North Pole where the elves actually build the toys.
Ladies, take it away. Whoever wants to lead it off.
So I saw these elves one time when I was walking around, and I followed them to the North Pole. and I kind of, I'm a lot bigger than them, but I tried to scrunch down and, I wanted to see this toy building room that they have. And, with all due respect to the elves and to you, I know that I got to do something that probably nobody's ever done before. I got to see the whole process from scratch.
I don't want to poo-poo you, but I happen to be personal friends with Santa. And we are super tight. And not only have I been to that toy room, but have you been to the VIP room? The VIP room is awesome. I mean, right? I mean, it puts that other room to shame. So next time you go, you definitely have to let me know. I will get you on the list. And, it's dope.
Okay. That's cool. I appreciate it. But, with all due respect, I'm more about the little guys and not the big guy. So.
I know what you're saying, but what about, did you party with the reindeer? I mean, there's nothing to show off. I mean, that's a whole nother party.
True. That's true. But, with all due respect, I have allergies. So are these hypoallergenic reindeer, or what do they do?
They are hypoallergenic, and they're also flying reindeer. And if you're nice to them, they have taken me on some really pretty exciting rides. Let me tell you, like, if you want to have like an incredible tour over like every single major city, all within like 5 minutes, like, yeah, and totally hypoallergenic. I brought a friend. I brought another, I'm not going to say who he was because he's a kind of a big deal, but he was really impressed. So, he was pretty excited. I think you'd like it.
All right. So, all right. Well, okay, one last thing. And don't take this the wrong way, but with all due respect, do you really mean this invitation, or are you just yanking my chain?
Oh, no, totally, man. I will absolutely get you on the list. Yeah, they're having a really big festival there that everyone's going to. I'm surprised you don't know about it. I'll totally hook you up with an invite, and we'll make it happen.
And scene. That's perfect.
Oh my
Darlene,
God, that was
you
amazing.
Completely embodied the spirit of this game.
Oh my God, Mark, no
yes.
offense. Can we just cut ours and editing and only do
I
theirs?
know, right? Why?
My God.
No, I think it'll be great for contrast.
It'll be great contrast.
So well done, Darlene
God,
and Elsie. That was really, really funny and very, very good.
Darlene, were you a mean girl in high school? Because you did that like really well.
Oh.
She's nice.
I'm just kidding. She was creative. She's creative, and that's an awesome segue.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's just about Darlene and nothing else. Right after this.
On a 1 to 10 scale of moronic, this program is a 19,412 and 3/5. So, if you're into that sort of thing, buckle up. This is Funny People Talking.
Darlene Liebman, founder of Creative Humans. You're such a cool person, and I really love what your company is all about. I could describe it, and I'm able to describe it because I researched it, what you're all about. But, since we have you here, I would love if you would just take a quick second and just give us like the elevator pitch of what Creative Humans is all about and why it exists. And then I kind of want to follow that up if I could.
Yeah. So, my background real quick is just like film and TV production. It always has been for many moons. And people were always coming to me, asking me for recommendations for different filmmakers. They would either ask me, hey, can you make a video for me? Or can you recommend someone to make a video for me? Or do you know any cinematographers? Or do you know any editors? And this has just always been how it works. It is always word of mouth, how people kind of find each other. And I just felt it was very inefficient. And, I just personally, I'm a production, I think all women love lists. I love lists. And I wanted to create essentially a premier list of all the best kind of video creatives in the world. To start, I start with America. So it's an online platform that was built to help brands and ad agencies find filmmakers to work on projects for them. So it's a vetted community of both companies and freelancers. So there's production companies and animation studios and post-production companies and agencies. And we have cinematographers, editors, motion graphic artists, and directors. But all the people and companies focus purely on like branded content. So all the work that's up there is work that they are paid to produce. And what I do is I play like kind of creative professional matchmaker. So people will come to me and tell me what they're looking for, their problems, and we make introductions and, find them a solution for their creative issues.
So my question is, do you feel you are more creative now that you're doing this, or were you more creative when you were doing actual production work as your main gig?
I think I get to be more creative now because now, we find all these filmmakers and I look for people in different categories. So I seek them out a lot more. So we'll look for, some people stop motion, someone else is working with children, and someone else is working with autos, or there's just so much, I get to watch like incredible content all day long. And it's more fun because I also speak to just amazing creators all day long. And I don't know, it's really fun. So I talk to and then I talk to producers, and so I'm talking to like brands or ad agencies, and all I do is talk to interesting creative people and just kind of gossip all day long. It's nice.
That is amazing. And so Darlene, like on the website, here are some of the brands. If you could explain, how it works. There's Apple, and there's Adidas, and there's the New York Times Magazine, and there is Weezer, the band, shooting a music video. So you're like running with the biggest dogs. Just amazing. I commend you, but I'd love some insight as to how that all evolved for you to be running with such big dogs.
Well, I think you should probably know that I did not create all those videos. What you're looking at are people's portfolios. So what we do is we reach out, and let's say you're a cinematographer. So I look for cinematographers, again, who specialize in different things. And let's say, you work mainly with drones, right? Really big, amazing drones. So I'll look for drone photographers, and I'll look for drone photographers who do branded work. And that's part of the prerequisite is like, you have to have worked with big brands and agencies. And then you come on board and you create a profile. And as you create a profile, like all that work is searchable. So the idea is that on the site, you can search by budget and category and industry. So let's say you want to look at all the videos that were produced between like $50,000 to $75,000. But then you only want to look at the comedies. And then you only want to look at the ones done for insurance companies. So you can really like slice and dice through all the work to try to find people who are really fit kind of what you need to have created.
Very cool.
Do you limit it specifically to filmmaking, or are you across a variety of types of media? For example, just because this is a podcast, would you or do you offer podcast production services? Not offer it, but I mean, do you list those as well? Or have you very specifically decided I'm in this narrow path at this point, so let's just get this right and do this well?
Yeah, I try to really, really stick to video. But that being said, I have helped people find podcast producers. Like people come to me for all different reasons because sometimes it's unclear. They're like, oh, you have creatives. And I do have a very broad network with a lot of people. But if I can't, then I'll point you in the direction of someone else who can. But my feeling, I really don't want it to be too broad because I think that's when companies get a little, you're just not focused. And I really, I don't like it when, if you're helping someone find an editor, you have to know what an editor does and have to understand like nuances and all of these different productions. And I find larger companies that do it, they just have no idea the difference between like a copywriter and an editor, and you're just not getting really great candidates. Mm-hmm. So I think it's easier to curate and be smart about it and just kind of stick with video. And I love video. I'm addicted to television. That's why I do this.
So beyond television and beyond paid ads, video accounts for at least 2/3 of all online consumption. So, how much does that drive your business growth, just continuing to go upward because video is such a hot commodity online?
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is that you think about like years ago, like when a company made video, you had like 3 commercials a year. Right. And that was like, and that's why the budgets were so big. But now, budgets are dropping, but you need so much more. Like in addition to, of course, like all the stuff on broadcast, now you have every other channel, right? So they have to feed the beast, and you have to feed the beast for social or for also just internal. Right. For your conferences, you need video. B2B, you need video. Like everyone's like, make me a video, make me a video. Every single department from human resources, again, to the video, everyone's like, let's make a video. And where do you turn? Like, a lot of these companies, they have an agency of record, but the agencies, the one problem is that they're very expensive and they don't want to do lower budget work, right? So what I try to do is I still try to introduce you to incredibly high quality, amazing people, but who won't charge you agency rates, right? So you're getting much more value for your dollar.
Cool.
Now, how do you vet that though? So I'll give you an example. So Nathan Russell from Hammond Hill Media, who we had on recently, we talked about earlier, they're doing great work, but they're also a relatively young company. How do you judge if you that you can stand behind someone?
Yeah, well, Nate has already had some really legitimate clients behind him. Honestly, he's done some.
True.
He really has, and that's important. Like if I
true.
They don't work with anyone, then I don't take them on. I just that even if they are really talented, because I really want people who understand how to work with senior level directors and producers and understand how it's done. So that's actually what you're looking for. I've done this before, and I remember finding a filmmaker, and then 5 years later she won Sundance. So what I want to find are the people before they hit it big, right? When you hit it big, you're going to charge a ton of money, which is great, and I think completely as they should, But what everyone's looking for, right, is people who are young and hungry, but still know what they're doing. Really creative, are going to really kind of think for you and just give you something special and work a little bit harder because they want you as a new client, right? I always tell clients that these people shouldn't be doing you a favor. And a lot of times when you go to bigger companies, they're oh, you only $70,000. I guess, but and they give you the B team and they hum and I don't know. There's a ton of people who would, and there's so many more filmmakers than ever before. The price of camera gear and all of editing equipment has just dropped so significantly in the past years. When you used to edit 10 years ago, you needed an Avid, and an Avid cost $500,000. And now anyone can edit, right? And do a good job of it. So, and the same with cameras. Think about it. There were no camera. I mean, before a camcorder, there was literally no camera you could get other than renting a Panavision or an Aeroflex camera.
Right.
Yep.
Well, it's so cheap. And because of that, there's so many more creatives, right?
It's crazy. When I was in film school, I remember hanging off the back of a pickup truck holding a $50,000 video camera, of which I think the lens was $20,000 or $30,000 of that money. Filming at Olympic go-karts in Rochester, in front of a go-kart that's chasing the pickup truck that was basically the camera truck, while two guys hold me so I don't fly off the back of the pickup truck, holding this $50,000 camera about 4 inches from the ground, hoping we don't hit a big bump. And I look back at them not just how crazy is that moment, but how crazy that we would drag around a $50,000 piece of equipment because there was no other real option to get quality.
Yeah, that's for a good story. And think about all the other gear you had. I'm sure you had a separate audio person maybe, and there's just extra stuff that you needed that now you can really cut corners and but still not compromise on quality, right? So I think it's really amazing, and I think and people want to know how to tap into that, right? How do I make that same $1 million commercial maybe for $200,000? And you can. You just have to talk to the right people. So they should call me.
Do you think, Darlene, going back to your point, that the fact that it's so easy, I can shoot something on my phone and in about 3 minutes I can become an internationally distributed filmmaker through YouTube? One could argue semantics, but I'm saying hypothetically, I just shot a little film, uploaded it, it's available in many countries. That's obviously not the same thing as being a Steven Spielberg of the world. So my question is the ease of doing it and the number of apps and controls that we have to make horribly done work look that much more professional. How do you find that makes people appreciate or not appreciate the real pros, and then the fact that they need to hire those people?
I think it depends on who the person is. A lot of people, especially with online video, have the school of thought that it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? I hear that a lot from marketers. They're it doesn't matter YouTube. They don't care. They don't care. And I care. I totally disagree. I think a lot of people do care, and I see quality, and I think it really just depends on who's making the decision and also what platform and really how it's being distributed and how good it is, right? I mean, all those people there's a lot of YouTubers who were making kind of, obviously much lower rent, camcorder videos, right? And then they became big stars, and now their videos are all beautiful and gorgeous. It's now they can make them really pretty, and they have much better gear. So I don't know. I think quality is important, and I don't know. YouTube's tough. I mean, that's a very, very hard nut to crack for a lot of reasons. I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it sure did. Now, I should say you're no slouch. Like when you say, "Oh, I spent a lot doing film and TV production and stuff." I mean, you're a producer with Viacom, for a couple of years. You're a co-founder of a company called Howcast Media that was a venture-backed internet video startup. To be venture-backed, you have to have accomplished something to get venture money. So my question is, being on that kind of a trajectory in your career, which a lot of people would really appreciate being where you had accomplished being. I'm very excited about where you are now with what you're doing with Creative Humans. But do you feel that everything has led to this moment?
Very much a culmination of kind of all my work all put into one. And right from like getting on, and because Howcast is a really large instructional site, it's primarily a YouTube channel right now. And we have over 9 million subscribers on the channel and over 4 billion.
Wow.
It's still growing. So it's an enormous body of work and a lot of talk about YouTube, a lot of eyeballs. And just, I feel like every single, I think, doesn't that happen with everyone with life though? You kind of look at all the different things you've learned and maybe you try to put it back together and think about how it's going to be useful for people and helpful and hopefully make some money.
Where did you start? Were you in film and did you study film? How did you end up here?
Well, one of the first jobs I tried for was I applied to be Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, but he didn't take me.
Oh,
wow.
So much more context. So much more context to the start of the show.
That is amazing.
By the way, what a nice near miss there, I guess. But
I always said I'm such a pleaser. I would have been like, okay, Harvey, there you go.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
He would have been like, hey, want to see my flying reindeer? But anyway.
So what was the goal back then when you were going to be Harvey Weinstein's quote assistant unquote? What
but where
were you aiming?
Well, I figured in life that I had an addiction to television where I just watched a lot of TV growing up. And I loved movies. I'd always rent, back when you rented movies. And so I was renting bizarre movies or ones that other people weren't renting. And when I graduated from college, my mindset was that I was only going to be like, I wasn't an A student, but when I loved something, I did really well at it. So I figured my career should be something that I loved. And if I loved it, then I would actually be good at this job as opposed to like trying to do something that I wasn't really great at. Yeah. So I started in the movie industry. So back with like independent features, and I got involved with that. And then I moved to commercials and then TV shows. I worked on the first like 7 episodes of Your Eye for the Straight Guy, which was like, I always say ruined Bravo. Like ruined the face of Bravo.
Wow.
And and then after that, I was at Nickelodeon, which was also like a dream of mine as a child. And then Howcast and then Creative Humans. And I think it's just kind of also having the entrepreneurial spirit was like a lot of it also came from movie making. Cause like when you start a movie, it's like starting a new company. Like every single movie you work on, it's like you got to set up your office and you got to hire everybody and, get all the accounting all together. And so it wasn't that like frightening for me, I guess, as opposed to other people. They're like, how did you start a company? I'm like, I don't know. Just did it.
I'll tell you, doing a feature film in particular, even bad feature films are marvelous accomplishments. To even get it to exist is just such an incredible little entrepreneurial journey. It's amazing. People don't realize that even when they look at a horrible film.
Yeah, all the way to marketing. I mean, there's so many different pieces of it. I mean, if you're going to be able to take it from the inception and the idea and like through casting, of course, and then crewing up and then raising the money and then spending the money and then, what are you going to do with it? And then you have to moves and go like, and show it to everybody. I mean, it's a company, right?
Darlene, the fact that this is just you're amazing. Fast Company named you one of the most influential women in technology. You just are an entrepreneur, and the fact that you're helping other freelance / entrepreneur types in the industry is just remarkable. So yeah, just your drive, man. I have a feeling this isn't your last. Just got 9 million followers over there Howcast and now this. I mean, everybody keep your eye on Darlene because she is just on fire.
No question about it. And you know what else about Darlene that I think is interesting, Dresden, that I noticed?
Yeah, let's talk about her like she's not here. Keep going.
Yeah.
Elsie, jump into.
That Darlene woman we were talking about a minute ago. Yeah, let me
Burning
talk about
woman.
her.
Yeah.
So but Darlene, one of the things I really noticed about you right from the beginning, and I wonder if I did pick up on something, I really do sense a thread of humor in the way that you present your company. Like your emails seem to have a humorous tone to them. Your social media presence, all of that there's a whimsy a little bit to things, at least in my opinion. Is that something that you specifically are going for? And if so, what drove you to sort of take that tone?
Oh, yeah. I always say the voice of Creative Humans is Sassy Production Manager.
All right.
Oh, that's
I know exactly who you're talking about, by the way. I met that person.
Thoughtful.
She's best friends with Sassy Stage Manager.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yes. We get drinks all the time. She's wonderful. I love that girl.
I love it. What made you decide to do that? I mean, I get it's industry and people will get that and everything, but how did you decide that, and how do you where does that copy come from in your brain? Like, how do you come up with, say, this is the voice I'm continuing to try to write with and present? How do you think about even what you're going to say to make that work? Is there any way you can articulate that?
I don't know. I just it's kind of whatever's rattling around in my head. I try to just make it entertaining and interesting. Like, I think, when you get newsletters or you're reading copy, you want to be both educated and a little bit entertained. And when something's too dry, you can tell someone wrote about it who doesn't know what they're talking about. If you can obviously be a tiny bit more tongue in cheek or just more thoughtful and interesting, it means that you're just more educated about those things. But that's honestly
interesting. I love that.
I don't know. It's really intentional. It's just what I write. I mean, because I don't.
Because the Sassy Production Manager's deep inside.
Yeah, totally.
Screaming to get out all over the socials.
So, Darlene, for those who want to track down Creative Humans, experience the Sassy Production Assistant, and also, honestly, just try to see what you have to offer, and either because they do produce or their potential client, how do they reach out to you? And I'm also interested, as part of that, how do you monetize? Who's the one paying you in this mix?
So we take a cut. We take a 15% cut out of any job that gets executed through the site that that we can successfully make happen. It depends. Honestly, the cut sometimes comes out of the creator side and sometimes the cut comes out of the client side. It kind of really depends on how the project's coming through and how we negotiate it. And then if someone wants to find us, they go to creativehumans.com and they can use the contact us form, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. I have 13,000 connections on LinkedIn. I have
That's very impressive, by the way. That's very impressive.
It's no Howcast numbers, you know what I'm saying?
No, I know. I don't even know if there are 9 million people on LinkedIn, but
they're both hers, so I don't think I'm insulting her. I'm being
no.
facetious, of course.
That's really quite impressive.
I want to just say I have 64 on Instagram.
She means 64 people, by the way, not 64,000.
Yeah.
Well done. She's trying to get to 72.
Everyone follow Elsie, the producer.
Yeah, I want to get to 72.
Okay.
She does. Elsie, the producer, everybody.
Have dreams. Dreams, Elsie, dreams.
So, all right. Well,
oh, my God.
Darlene, I love what you've done. You're such a cool person. And congratulations on Creative Humans. It's really a brilliant idea. And I actually really love getting the emails from you guys. It doesn't feel like spam or junk mail or anything like that. It feels like a friend is calling, and it's nice. So congratulations and continue good luck. And thanks for connecting us with Nathan, by the way. That was
and I'll see you guys all next year.
Yeah, he was great.
At Burning.
It was great.
We're all gonna go. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Darlene Liebman, the founder of Creative Humans, such a cool person. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks for being on the show. You were a delight. So, all right. That is it for this episode of Funny People Talking, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you next week for another wonderful guest. But until that time, for Elsie.
Thanks a lot.
And Dresden.
I'm off to party with some reindeer.
Yes, you are. And by the way, Dresden, all good thoughts for your daughter, and
thanks.
However things result with her COVID test, but also if it is positive, I hope she feels a lot better. So,
well,
if it isn't positive, I hope she feels a lot better.
I hear some other great people got through it. So,
all right.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm Mark Rako. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
That's it? That's the end of the show? Boy, oh boy, what a crock. This was Funny People Talking.
No portion of the content may be reproduced or published without the strict written permission of the producers. Connect with our show at Funny People Talking or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. I'm your announcer, Peter Coleman. Thanks for listening.
This is Mouth Media Network, the business of being heard.